Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Player, and the Stars. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. the Player, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, and with me, as always, is my partner in True Crime. She is a New England Professional Wrestling Hall of Famer. She is the Reverend Archie's mom, and she is also the icon of insurance. And, of course, I can only be talking about the very bad co-host, the one and only Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you?
I am doing fine, thank you. How are you?
I could not be better. Could not be
That's
better.
nice.
Here is the resident genius of true crime, the director of security for Dangerous Dave's Carnival, and Cash the Wonder Dog's mom, Tiffany Stark. Tiffany, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. I passed my problem off, aka David. I passed him off to Tori this week. So she is director of security for him.
Oh, she's the interim director of security.
Yes, so I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break.
And there they are to the bottom right, Dangerous Dave and terrible Tori Star. Dave, how are you? And Tori, can we count on you to fill that position tonight?
I'm going to try my best. He's been a little unhinged the last couple of days.
I've noticed that from some of the text messages I've received.
I'm all exhausted. I've been just swimming for 3 days in the sun for 3 days, eating for 3 days, and I'm on vacation here, and I'm loving it, and spending time with my grandson and his friends. I'm just loving it.
That sounds like, is that Carrot Top? Who is that?
That's Woody.
Oh, that's Woody. I'm sorry.
That's Woody.
From here, it looks like I need to adjust my glasses here. It kind of looks like Carrot Top. Carrot Top on crack, but no, it's Woody.
Woody from Toy Story.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Let me pay the bills here first, and then on to the this very compelling case. And for those of you out in Radio Land, thank you for listening to Want Radio. You want it, they got it. This is Benny Scala, the one and only Player, and welcome to another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Player, and the Stars. Folks, we're very excited to be announcing our new sponsor, the Free Spirited Company. Free Spirited is a phenomenal old-school clothing company that specializes in long and short-sleeve T-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, graphic tees, heck, even yoga pants. These T-shirts are, to quote Rocky's manager, Mickey Goldmill, a wake of art. Yours truly will be rocking the Free Spirited merch on each and every episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Player, and the Stars. Not only are these shirts eye-catching, but they are very comfortable as well. Like what you see? Please go to shopfreespirited.com and use our special code MP20 to receive a 20% discount on all purchases. Again, that is shopfreespirited.com, and the code is MP20. As the poet laureate of the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel, I will leave you with this. If you like what you see, go buy a tee. Heck, maybe even 2 or 3. When your friends tell you, hey, you look like the bomb, send them over to shopfreespirited.com. Well, guys, last week we chatted about one of your locals, Karen Reed, and tonight we go to my old hood and talk about the Gilgo Beach serial killer. And I want to flash this up here. I don't know if you can see it or not. From his address to my old house growing up, literally walking distance, about 3 miles. Wow. Scary that they're right in your neighborhood. But I'm going to have Brittany and Tiffany it's a very brief intro. Then we're going to dive right into this one. And folks in the chat room, don't be shy. Not that you ever are. Brittany, take it away.
On July 13th, 2023, Rex Heuermann, a 59-year-old architect residing in Massapequa Park, New York, was arrested in Midtown Manhattan and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder related to the deaths of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. In January 2024, he was also charged for the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. All of the women's remains were found within a quarter of a mile from each other near Gilgo Beach. These victims were designated as the Gilgo Four.
The original search was prompted by the disappearance of Shannon Gilbert in May of 2010 in Oak Beach, a gated community on the south shore of Long Island. Like the Gilgo 4, Shannon was a sex worker who advertised her services on Craigslist. Her body was discovered about 9 miles from the remains of the other victims. In addition to the Gilgo 4, Heuermann has been charged with the murders of 3 other women, Jessica Taylor, Sandra Costella, and Valerie Mack. Heuermann's trial does not yet have a start date.
There's a little map there. So, guys, I'm going to throw out a bunch of talking points, and we'll go Brittany, Tiffany, and then Dave and Tori. So my first point is initially the police thought that Shannon Gilbert's death was accidental. And I'm still scratching my head wondering how they came up with that when you get a call from 911 with a woman obviously like fearing for her life. How does that become an accident?
Shoddy police work. Because that's what seems to be a very common theme. And I've noticed it way more since we started doing this podcast. I did not know how rampant it was. And that is truly what I think happened.
Yeah, I agree with Brittany. I just feel like, what are you two laughing at down there?
Pick up the pace. Let's go.
The pace, you two have been the boringest bunch since we started. All right, so
in the sun all day.
Over there to the right.
I think they're are you guys doing drugs or anything like that?
Like, what's going on?
No,
I don't do drugs in front of my friends.
Okay, and now he's saying Buzz Lightyear is his friend. I think the drugs are happening over there. I do.
Pretty good stuff.
Just tired.
Yeah,
it's from the heat, I can tell.
I feel like the police definitely didn't do. I think that the problem is that for whatever reason, people like don't take it seriously when someone's banging on your door saying they need help. Like
at 2 in the morning. Yeah.
She was naked. I wouldn't answer the door for her either.
Dave would answer the door. Welcome to the carnival.
Yeah, come into the carnival. Can I help you?
Let me punch your ticket.
I think that they just
your ticket here.
I think that they think like they see like a girl who's naked, whatever, and they're like, oh, she's obviously like maybe drunk or like not in the right state of mind or whatever. But she also didn't she like take off too though? Like after knocking on people's doors or something, didn't she like take off?
I think she knocked on 2 different doors and then she ran away anyway. Yeah. And then she made that phone call. She
never should have. I don't understand why she knocked on the doors for help and then like took off. I don't know. Like obviously like no one's gonna probably take her seriously. They're like, oh, she needed help. Why is she leaving the scene?
Right.
I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Unless that happens all the time there. Who knows?
Girls wandering around naked.
Yeah.
I think that she did drown in the marsh. I think she did take off. I don't think she had any idea what was going on. If you look at the videos and the footage from like the news outlets and stuff, it's pitch black over there. There's not a single street light, not a single light. And she had no idea where she was. She didn't know the area. She didn't know what she was running into. But I think that something happened after listening to her boyfriend and her driver talk. I don't think either of them had anything to do with it. The boyfriend was at home. The driver picked her up to go bring her here. I think something happened inside the house. And I think there was more than one person in there. I don't think it was just the guy that hired her in the house.
Do you think it was Rex though?
No, I don't think that this has anything to do with it just happened that they ended up being able to find the bodies because they were out looking for Shannon Gilbert on the beach. And when they were out looking for her, they stumbled. I think that's the only connection here is that.
I don't know. I think I mean, I get that. I feel like it's just that's like too big of a coincidence that people are just that there's 2 separate people like that killed people in the same area.
Yeah, at Gilgo Beach.
Killed because I think that She went into the house. The driver said he was sitting outside. And after like an hour or so, the guy came out and was like, she's fucking nuts. You need to go get her out of my house. The driver went into the house and she was like in the corner, like looking all like frantic and scared and was already on the phone with 911. Mm-hmm. I think that something happened inside the house. I think that the guy did something. The driver seems to think there was more than one person there and that they might have been hiding. Because she kept saying they when he walked in. They are trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me.
Well, I heard this was like a while back when I first heard about the case. So wasn't there like a police officer or somebody who was also connected to something that happened in the house, and there was like tapes found?
No, that's different.
With the police officer from child pornography or something?
No, that wasn't the house. That was the police chief or the commissioner? The police chief.
Well, yeah, we're coming up to him in a minute. Yeah, but the one thing I want to say is, I believe, that when they did her autopsy, that she did have a broken hyoid bone in her neck. So there was some shenanigans. I don't think she drowned. Honestly, I think he did it as well. But for whatever reason, he hasn't been charged for it yet. I think at some point he's going to fess up and admit to all the killings, but...
Do you think that maybe he was in the house, too? Hiding or something? I mean, it's a hyoid bone.
Yeah, the driver seems to think someone else was in the house. And after listening to the interview with the driver and the boyfriend, they were together in an interview. I don't think the driver had anything to do with it. Like, he was out there looking for her. And then was like, what am I going to do? I'm going home. I'm leaving. I have no clue what's going on right now. And he went to the police station the next day with the boyfriend and was like, hey, and the guy that was in the house that hired her. And he was like, she's missing. And I guess the police were like, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. She'll turn up.
So then if the guy who was in the house went to the police too, then that leads
friends with them, because he was like, they're not going to do anything. Watch. And they went in there and the police and him were friends. They said they were like chatting it up. Like they were like tight with each other. This little rich kid living off daddy and mommy's money.
This sounds like Karen Reed. So let me flash this guy up. This was James Burke, the Suffolk County Chief of Police. Initially, I think he was appointed in 2012, so maybe a couple of years after they discovered the bodies. But now this guy, I want to know what you think about him. He actually wound up, I believe, getting arrested for something with hookers, or I'm not sure exactly what, but I believe that he removed a number of people off the Gilgo Beach task force during his tenure. So I don't know if you guys have any opinions on him.
Dirty.
Yeah. He
removed the FBI off the case. Like, he was removing a bunch of people, and then they were like, oh, he just wanted credit for it. No, he didn't want anybody digging deep and finding out what the hell he was doing, because he's a sicko.
Yeah, because he was having relationships with prostitutes as well, who were also but he was doing it while he was in police vehicles, I guess.
Oh my God.
And he was on duty and in uniform as well while that was going on. So I don't know. I mean, it seems really shady that he ended he didn't want the FBI to have any part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was just doing dirty shit. He was nasty stuff, and I think didn't want anybody to dig. I didn't think he wanted anybody to find out what he was doing. He didn't want the FBI around.
But maybe that's why, because he was into such shady shit. That.
Do you think that he had anything to do with any of the murders or anything? Because from what I was doing research, it said I saw that he beat up one of the suspects or something when they were in custody.
That's why he got arrested, I believe, is because he almost beat a suspect to death.
And he was trying to coerce a witness too as well.
So the suspect that he beat up, this guy, forget his name. I'm not good with names. He went over to this police chief's house and robbed his police vehicle and took a duffel bag out of there. And inside the duffel bag was snuff porn,
Right. That's what it was.
Weird stuff, bondage stuff, like all this weird stuff inside of this duffel bag. And because this kid, they found out, I don't know if he was at the party. I think there was a party at the house. I don't know. They found out it was him, and they arrested him and beat the living shit out of him for days.
Yeah.
And then tried like setting him up with all this stuff. And then it came out the guy was I don't think the guy ever returned the duffel bag, but he was in police custody because there was, I think, a gun in there or something. So they arrested him.
Christopher Loeb, that's his name. Christopher Loeb was the one that
This sounds like these sound like cops that should have been in last week's case with Karen Reed.
Right?
So that's why
I was going to say, when you put up the picture of the cop in his dress uniform, I was going to say, is he from Canton, Mass?
Right. He might as well have been, right?
And he did serve time as well. It was like 46 months or whatever for all the stuff that ended up coming out about him.
Yeah, so like I don't think that him or Shannon Gilbert's situation had anything to do with Rex. I think that the only connection is while they were out looking for Shannon Gilbert, they stumbled upon these other bodies and they were like, oh shit. And then they didn't find Shannon. And then the only thing that this dude has, a shady ass police officer, other than canceling everybody off the case, is that for multiple years, they stopped working on the Gilgo Beach murders and stopped looking for the killer because they were too focused on him and getting, putting him away. So there was no attention or focus on anything else.
That's terrible.
I think he misunderstood the term nightstick. That's just my opinion. But want to give a quick shout out.
I don't believe in coincidences, honestly.
No, especially in this kind of stuff.
So something is connected to something else.
Yeah, I think that Rex was working alone because I feel like if anybody else was working with him, he would have ratted on them already.
No, I agree. I don't think that there was anybody else involved with any of the murders that he did. I don't think there was other people involved, but maybe he was at that house and there was some type of party and something happened and he took off out the back or something and then went after her because somebody was chasing her. Somebody was going after her. She was on the phone talking to whoever it was. Like, when she was on the phone with the police, she was telling them to get away from her.
It was her driver and the guy in the house because she was naked. They were trying to get her in the car. Yeah. And I don't know. I think she was on something. They tried to say in her toxicology report she wasn't, but
maybe she bit the guy's junk during
what toxicology report?
She also had a history of bipolar disorder, like all these mental health issues, her family said. So
right. I want to give a quick shout out real quick to those in the chat room. We got Chris from the WFIA. We got the Playmate Beth. We got Walt. We got Kristen Wolf. We got Dangerous Dave Starr as well. RJ. we got Denise Palmagiano. Is that Mrs. P 2.0?
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being
Denise.
in the chat. This guy, I think, is a very pivotal figure. His name is David Schaller, Amber Lynn Costello's roommate. Now, apparently, and correct me if I don't get this right, I believe I do, but they had a scam going on where she was a sex worker. She would bring prospective tricks over to the house, and then he would come out acting as her jealous boyfriend, scare the guy off, and then she would already have gotten paid. And I think they worked this a number of times, and they actually did work it with Heuermann, but I guess he was persistent. He came back. But this guy gave the police a very vivid description of Heuermann, not only of him, but of the vehicle, a Chevy Avalanche, which I guess was a first-generation Chevy Avalanche. So my question is, why did it take the police 12 years to follow up on both the description of the guy and the vehicle when they could have ran a list of black Avalanches years and years before? And I know Brittany said that she said the magic word. shoddy, or was it shoddy or shitty, or is it both? Does it really matter? So what do you think, Brittany?
I think what Tori said is what happened. I think that they just stopped working on it for a number of years while other stuff was going on that apparently to them was more important. Because you know how this always happens. We've all seen it in these cases. If there's prostitutes involved, it's not important and on to the next thing. And that's how they treat those. And it's sad. Because I mean, they're people too. They're somebody's daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, whatever. I could go on all day, but you know what I'm saying? And I just think it's sad that they put stuff like that aside to handle other things. When, like you said, Benny, they could have figured this out 10 years earlier.
And how many people are driving a first generation green and black Chevy Avalanche in Massapequa Park?
Right.
Exactly. That's 6'6".
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All they had to do was check his license. The height's right on there too.
And he gave a good description of what Rex looked like too. Like he nailed it. Like how he said how tall he was, the glasses, the hair. He said literally exactly what he looked like, and then described the vehicle as well. But I feel like maybe they just weren't connecting certain dots, like not really like, because they didn't even, wasn't it like phone data or something that got them to like even start looking at him, like realizing like looking at burner phones and realizing that they were in the same place, and then like figuring out like where the guy worked, like, oh, he must be working in Manhattan, I guess. And I don't know, like how, I don't know. I feel like they just didn't connect the dots, maybe. I don't know.
There were three central locations. It was Massapequa Park, it was Midtown Manhattan, and it was Gilgo Beach. And I think
the sorry, Benny. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And the police station, like the precinct, whatever that is that they were working out of, was like a quarter of a mile from his house. You're gonna tell me none of you drove by and saw the Chevy Avalanche sitting in the driveway and went, that's the truck that's in the Long Island serial killer case.
It wasn't, because it wasn't at his house. He had it. They actually didn't. They found it in like
South
Maine
Carolina
or something. Yeah, I don't know where Maine came from. In South Carolina.
I think they actually
South Carolina.
They found it. They actually located it. They eventually found it in South Carolina, I believe, because I think his brother owns property down there. But I gotta believe for all those years, because I'm assuming it was the family vehicle. And it must have been
in the driveway at some point.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure he commuted on the Long Island Railroad, because there is a Massapequa Park train station, and I know that because I've taken a train from Massapequa Park many times. So I'm assuming that he probably, his wife drove him to work, and I gotta believe that Avalanche was sitting there, out in the open for years and years. I guess maybe he thought he was bulletproof, but it's just.
The police, like, I've driven by that house like a dozen of times.
Yeah, just
pretty scary.
I mean, they use the term in plain view. I mean, like no more obvious. But I want to show this guy. This guy replaced Burke, Rodney Harrison, in 2022 as the police commissioner of Suffolk County, and the very first things he said was, this case is solvable, and damn if like within a year it wasn't solved. So I guess my question is, if we had, if Suffolk County had a police commissioner like this, when the case first started, are we, how soon is this case solved?
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
It would solved pretty fast.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was a good
lot of the information. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave.
He was a good football player for the Patriots, Rodney Harrison.
He was wide receiver. Was he number 80, wasn't he, I think? Hall of Fame?
Yeah, is this the same guy? I don't think so.
played for
What
the
the
Indy
hell is
Colts.
going on? What are you
No,
talking about?
that was Marvin Harrison, I believe.
Uh,
No, there was a. Oh, are you laughing again, Tiffany? Yeah, no, there was a player named Marvin Harrison.
No, sorry, I had to
Hello,
let
Jason.
Cash in.
No, it's all right. Hello, Jason. And no, this guy was a rock star in my opinion. Hey, Cash.
hey,
He's at the door, hitting it with his nose, hitting the handle. So,
all right. Now, every show I have one question. I call it the payoff. This is the payoff coming up. Hang on 1 second. Is this woman delusional? Now, his wife is the one to the left. The one
I couldn't
right.
tell. Thank you for clarifying, Benny. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, have you guys seen Throw Mama from the Train?
Good movie.
Yeah.
Funny movie.
great movie with
Danny DeVito and Billy Crystal. Love, one of my favorite movies. But I mean, look, even they're pointing the same way. But
I know.
I mean, this woman. I want to really quick say something. This woman made me sick. She's so delusional. Even the daughter, because I did watch that Peacock documentary, which anybody who wants to know more about this case, I would highly recommend it. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the daughter, they said at the end, she seemed pretty, at first nobody wants to think your father is that person. But I think by the end of the show, I think, Tori's looking right at Dave. How come? But
I don't know.
But I think she kind of switched camps. But the wife, no way. She is like, man, I don't know if she's dumb or she's just delusional. I don't know what do you think, Brittany?
Delusional. Mentally ill and delusional.
Tori's got something. She has a strong opinion about it, as you can tell.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
I want everyone to have their turns.
I think when I was watching it, I thought watching the movie Deliverance. I thought that the family was something you'd run into in the Appalachian Mountains somewhere. They were
Like
like
a wrong turn or something.
Like they were just. How did the neighbors not see him coming home with these women? The houses were so close. The houses were so close to his house next door and across the street.
They were minding their own business.
How did you not see him come home with a woman? And how did you not see him coming out with, with tops of victims coming out?
I know.
Well, I mean,
it's
if
question.
it's dark,
Maybe
you're not paying attention. Like they think it's his wife or daughter. It's dark. It was nighttime probably when he did all this.
I know what's going on in my neighborhood. I would have saw it.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah. First of all,
like 3:15 in the morning. Okay. I am dead asleep. Yeah. My dog is dead asleep. Anybody could be digging and burying a family of 6 directly across the street from me, and I wouldn't know it.
Rack them and stack them, right?
Same. I would have no idea what's going on. But back to what David said, this man is so nosy. Okay. He is gone in Connecticut this week. Do you know this man calls me? What's going on in the neighborhood? Anything going on in the neighborhood? What's going on over there? I don't know. I don't pay attention to these people. I don't know what the hell's going on in the neighborhood. I'm minding my business.
He's looking out my window trying to see what's going on.
I don't even know my neighbors' names,
I don't either. But he's so nosy.
Oh, I
What's
like
going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Keep my eye on things,
Brittany, how long have you lived in the residence you live in?
27 years.
All right, so you probably do know your neighbors' names then, correct?
People out of 169 families in this complex.
That would be me too. The same thing.
Yep. No,
1 or 2, maybe 3 tops.
Yep. And the 2 were not. I did not go to them. They came to me.
Right.
So, yeah, I have no desire.
In the chat. So that's the follow-up question though. Do you guys, we'll start with Brittany again. Do you guys think that the murders did occur in the house? Because he had that vault in the basement that was soundproof. And I'm sure he got it ostensibly for his large gun collection, but I'm thinking that that was the killing room. What do you think, Brittany?
I think it was. And I think he was doing what I just made up in my head about the family of 6 across the street. But that's what I think he was doing it, like probably 3:30 in the morning, one at a time. And like every couple of months or even 6 months or once a year, even, who knows? It's not something he was doing nightly, so people didn't start getting suspicious, right? I think he timed this stuff out and did it late and when everybody's lights were off and before Ring cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is my Ring camera right there.
I agree with Brittany. I think that he was probably doing it at night or early in like 3 a.m. around that time. But I think that he definitely was doing some weird stuff down in that basement. And his wife is like delusional. She's like, this is his wasn't it like his family home? She was saying like, this is where his like
this was his bedroom when he was growing up. This is where
and,
he all his memento, they're called. You want me to believe he was killing people in front of his pictures of his family?
Yes, bitch, I do. I do want you to believe that. Yes. Did they not did they not look like down there and take like did they not find anything from any of the women, like any DNA or like blood?
They haven't announced anything yet.
They're not releasing that until trial.
They haven't said they haven't, but yeah, they haven't said either way.
Okay. I was gonna say because that's one way to figure it out. And then but also he did that weird stuff with the bathroom, how he like redid the whole bathroom when they were on vacation, his wife and his daughter, when they went to Disney or whatever, and he redid or wherever they went, and it was like 5 weeks or something, and he like redid the bathroom.
Well, and it seemed like a lot of these killings occurred when because they would go, like the family would go on vacation without him. And there was one time when
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Tori. What is the issue here?
They were in Iceland for 5 weeks.
Whatever, Iceland, Disney, Venus, Mars.
No, they weren't. No, they might have been at Disney, but they were at one point. They were in Iceland for 5 weeks because she's from her wife.
Yeah. Anyways, Benny was
she's a real
saying something very intelligent.
But I think he used those opportunities to kill them. It seemed like it always happened when they were out of town, so that had to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, but who goes out of town that much? Who goes on that many vacations?
I have a theory on it. I think that the wife very much knew what her husband was doing. I'm sorry, but you're with that man for how many decades? I've been with my boyfriend for almost 12 years. I've been with him for almost 12 years. I know every coming and going and everything he's doing. Everything that man is doing.
I've been with my boyfriend for only like a year and a half, and I know what that man's doing every day.
Right. No, that's one thing. And I am not convinced that she didn't know. If I had to bet money on it, I would bet that she knows. She's just a smug jackass, and she's not giving it up. She's and the only reason why she divorced him was so that she could keep that house. Now, why anybody would want that house is beyond me. But
what's your theory?
My theory is that she knew what was going on and that she would take the kids out of town on these vacations so he could be back home doing what he wanted to do, and she knew what he was doing because I'm sorry, if I was going on that many vacations, family vacations, and Espo was like, oh, I'm just going to stay home. Okay, well, none of us are. We're all going to stay home then.
They said, well, he had to work, but you know what? I'm sure he got vacation too, right? I mean,
there's no way.
I agree with Tori. I think that was what I was thinking as well, as that she knew, so that's why she was taking the kids out of the house. But
she didn't want the kids.
That's a lot of they go on a lot of vacations.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys in Massachusetts. I mean, I grew up on Long Island, like I said, literally 3 miles from that house. And, in the 60s and 70s, I mean, as far as neighbors went, literally it was an open door policy. Like we would play baseball out in the street or go to the park. And then routinely, if we decided to get a drink, we could go in anybody's house during the day and get a drink without even knocking on the door. I mean, the doors were open. But, I mean, over the past 30, 40, 50 years, neighborhoods, at least in Long Island, at least my old neighborhood, evolved to the point where, my sister moved away, I think 5 years ago. She moved to Maine. And it was so much different. I mean, everybody kind of just minds their own business. So, I mean, conceivably, this guy could have done what he did in the dead of night where, that's a good point. I never thought of the fact that the wife, purposely took the kids on vacations to set him up for the kill, literally. But, I mean, this way, all you got to worry about is neighbors who really aren't nosy anymore, And, 2 a.m, if they're commuters, if they're working, they're in bed asleep.
Well, I'll tell you what I do in the middle of the night. I'm not on any urination.
Pee on my floor.
Not on any urination cycle. But when I get up and urinate, whether it's 2 or 3 times a night,
Big Mike goes on my floor.
I always look out the window all the time, see what's going on. All the
Not
time.
me. Not me. I don't care what's going on. I know how many times in the middle of the night I get up to go to the bathroom to pee because
if my dog is not barking, all is well in the world. That's all I need to know.
I don't care what's going on outside of my apartment.
Except for when there was those drone sightings. When those drone sightings were happening, anytime I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I would look out the window. That's the only time.
Well, Tiffany, if anything happened, would Cash, somebody try to break in, would he attack them?
Yeah, he would go ballistic.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's all you need to know.
If there's any noise out in my hallway, outside the door, my front door, he starts barking, and it could literally be somebody vacuuming, cleaning. He starts barking, and he'll sit at the door and stare at it and wait. So
yeah,
I'm not.
So to me, if my dog is not barking, all is well. But I wanted to. Now that's that.
What about Archibald?
House. I think of dueling
Archibald has barked once in 9 years.
Must be nice.
Wait, Archie's barked once in 9 years?
Once. The first week I got him what did he UPS driver, and that was it in 9 years. Doorbell can ring. In fact, it did. I don't know if you guys heard it ring at the beginning of the podcast.
No.
Yeah, right behind me. It was ringing. Someone was knocking on the door, and
Archie
through.
So not even if he wants to go out, what does he do? Just go by the door?
No, he comes to me and starts scratching on my leg or my arm, depending on whether I'm laying down or sitting up.
That's what Cash does. Cash likes to paw. He'll paw at you until you get up and get him what he wants.
Good line by RJ in the chat room. Archie told the UPS driver to stifle himself. I like that.
Yeah. Well, but, Archie, I think Archie might be deaf.
Maybe,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
like 95%.
Probably. This is a shithole. Now, I'm familiar with Massapequa Park, and we were talking before the show. Some of the people that have lived in Massapequa Park, Jerry Seinfeld, the Baldwin brothers, and I believe Neil Diamond. I know Seinfeld and Baldwin brothers and Brian Setzer from the Stray Cats all grew up in Massapequa Park. I dated a girl from Massapequa Park. My doctor, my dentist, my church was there. Massapequa Park is a very, very nice town, and every house is pristine. And how this guy is an architect, and he lives in this shithole. I mean, that itself should have attracted attention.
I mean, the side of the house that you can see the White House, even the side of that house looks nice.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I would think your neighbors say, hey, buddy, you're bringing down property values because.
Yeah.
So one of my best friends is from Queens. She moved to Connecticut 5 years ago, but her whole family lives on Long Island. And one of her really good friends lives the street behind him. And she said that multiple times people complained to the town about the appearance of his house, and they did nothing about it.
I would too. It doesn't look like it fits.
That's pretty gross.
I wouldn't be complaining I'd be complaining about his wife. She's pretty ugly. I'd be putting a complaint in about that.
I don't think they have HOAs in Massapequa Park, but if they did, I think they would have somehow threw them out, because it really is. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Every house is like, top shelf, except, that had to stand out like a sore thumb. And again, the guy's an architect. I have to imagine he made really good money. Why are you living like that?
Well, that's what his friend, that guy that was on that Peacock show, his friend that was also an architect, he like went over there for the first time, like, and was like, what the fuck is this? You're an architect,
right.
And this is what you're living in? Like,
well, it probably was paid off. His mother left it to him. It's probably paid off.
Yeah, but when you're an architect and you, first of all, they said he could build anything as well. Like, he could build anything.
They showed a dollhouse that he built a daughter. It was amazing.
Wow.
He wasn't.
Yes,
maybe they were just like maybe they were just like smart with their money, and they just would rather spend the money on going on all the trips instead of spending it on.
Yeah, they needed the money to go on the trip so he could do what he was going to do. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, they wanted to go to Disney for 5 weeks.
Maybe he was paying for Botox for his wife to see if he could improve her face, and it didn't work.
I don't think there was Botox happening on her face.
No, there wasn't.
It clearly didn't work then.
No, if whatever he needed to get his money back, if he spent money on Botox.
Listen, you know what's sad? You know what's really sad?
That's really gross.
You know what's really sad about this case? I looked at this case, and the saddest part about this case is I'm going to go back to what Brittany said at the beginning of the show. And before I say what I'm going to say, I just want to say there's a lot of good, honest cops that leave the house with families, children, and go and do a great job protecting us. But to have a description from an eyewitness of the vehicle this guy has and the make of it and what he looks like, and not catch him for 12 years is disgusting. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They ought to be absolutely.
How many avalanches of that year, of that color in Massapequa Park? It had to be like a list of let's even say 100. And I'm being like way conservative.
Yeah.
All they had to do was
more like 15 or 20.
All they had to do was do 12 years earlier what they did. Just run the like they called them, run the plates, run the description, just count it down, go to where it is, where the pings are coming from, just in the neighborhood, and they would have caught him 12 years earlier.
I agree.
I think this is a shot. I believe this is after they started they raided his house, and I think they did 2 different searches of his house, but for some reason they're not giving it up. They're very secretive. I would bet my life that he did the killings in the house, but they have not said that yet.
Yeah, because they took in the basement and that Peacock thing you watched, they took where they said he was hanging up like tarps in the basement for like blood splatter. They took they cut out sections of the ceiling and took it as evidence. So I'm wondering if there's like blood splatter up there. Or
I think what they're trying to do right now is because the case has not gone to trial yet. Which what the hell are they waiting for? I think they need to conceal all this stuff.
His people keep they're trying to say that the DNA evidence that was used against him in the case to figure out it was him shouldn't be being used. It has nothing to do with the case.
So I was watching, I think it was the Peacock documentary, that they got DNA from his daughter. They followed her on the train and took something out of the trash, I think a Monster drink or something. Yeah. And that's how they got DNA.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing what some of these good cops do. It's just amazing. Like the Culpepper case, the stuff that they just wait and watch, like they got a pizza from this guy.
For a whole year, they watched it. They had surveillance on him for an entire year until they finally we threw a pizza away. Let's take a whole year.
Yeah. They went and got a pizza. It's just amazing what these cops do and undercover do, and you don't even know they're watching you or following you, and then they They got pictures. It's beautiful when they take the picture. You don't even know they're taking pictures of you. And he threw the pizza. Had a picture of him with the pizza.
I mean, I always say it's. Yeah. I mean, I always say it's impossible to get away with something nowadays, but this guy got away with it for a long time. I mean, for over a decade, he skated and went to work every day. But I want to go back to Brittany as far as the stuff that they found when they searched his phone and his computers, the porn and the searches for like, torture and like I think even like sex with beheaded women. And I mean, it was just absolutely bizarre. And yeah, and the wife even poo-pooed that. I really do think if she's not, I'm not saying she was in on it, but she definitely knew about it. But what do you think of that, Brittany, as far as what they found on his phone and his computers?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think he's a really sick person. And what I think happened with the wife is I don't think she realized that he was a sick person. She might have realized he was doing something, and it may have been something illegal. It may have even been, being with prostitutes. But I'll bet you she didn't know anything more than that. I don't think she knew what was really going on. I mean, how do you accept that? The guy you've been with for 30 years is looking up having sex with beheaded women and porn. And how do you accept that?
I don't know. I mean, if I looked at next to, turn around in bed and saw her, I think beheaded woman might be a better choice. It's just my opinion, but
I don't know where it went.
I heard from the train.
Yeah, she's pretty delusional though, I think, because she was like saying how she has he gave me all the passwords. I was allowed to go on the computer freely, like
because he thought he had everything hidden.
Yeah, so I think I agree. So I'm like back and forth on whether or not she really knew about the extent of it. So like I kind of agree with Brittany. I think that maybe she thought something was going on or knew something was going on, knew he was, had these weird fantasies or was like having sex with prostitutes or whatever. Do I think that she knew that he was necessarily killing them like that in the basement? I'm still kind of on the fence about that. I mean, how do you not know that something that like that is happening in your house? But if he's doing it when she's on vacation, like I guess it's easy for him to hide it.
Yeah.
But she had to have known something was occurring. Like there's no way you just are that oblivious to anything going on and thinking that he's literally doing nothing at all. Like there's no way.
Look at the sun. The sun looked like he'd been snorting Gorilla Glue for like 10 years.
Yeah, they didn't talk to him very much in the documentary. It was all the daughter.
You see him? Get my ukulele.
But that wasn't his, that's not his son. That's his stepson, right? That was not his son.
Yes, I don't know what. I don't know.
Trying to find that.
She must have just got lost in the woods.
Yeah, he was not the sharpest knife in the drawer for sure. He was a dim bulb.
Yeah, the mother must have.
Kowalski's and flunked.
I don't know. That whole family seemed just really strange.
Yeah, no, that is like a modern day like Deliverance family.
Like the wrong turn. That's what it was. The wrong turn for sure. Up in West Virginia with those weird people. I don't know.
I was gonna read the.
I think the wife had that kid wandered into woods on vodka and ran into a half man, half horse guy or something because the son ain't right.
Yeah, no, they were all not right. They were all literally. Have you ever seen that family, like the Whittakin family from like West Virginia? They all just sleep with each other and have babies. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh yeah, that family is very weird. I just saw something on that recently.
And the mother, she gave me the creeps. Her accent was like half Iceland, like half Long Island. It's like you moved to Long Island when you were 10 months old. Why do you sound like that? They were just
right.
I don't know. I dated a girl once. Actually, the girl that I dated from Massapequa Park. It was ironic. She went to England for 6 weeks to visit, I guess, a friend of the family. And she came back with this heavy-duty English accent. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you went for 6 weeks, and my sister said, thank God she didn't go to Korea. Like,
it's so weird. Yeah, I have the original bail affidavit. I can't say how I got it, but I got it the day before he was arrested.
wow. Damn.
And somehow it has disappeared. I had it up the other night. I was reading it, and I really hope I didn't delete it. It's somewhere in my documents, but I can't find it. But
is it on your phone?
It is. I don't know. I can't find it. I had it sent to me the night before he was arrested, because I had known about a month before he was arrested. He was getting arrested. And I was going to read, like, I'm sure you can find it now online. I'm pretty sure it's like available, but like all of the searches that I'm going back to that, because I was not paying attention because I was trying to find it. All of the weird ass searches that he had on his computer. It was like,
oh yeah.
Asian twinks, which an Asian man was found dead on Gilgo Beach after that. 10-year-old rape videos, 10-year-old chubby girl videos, like naked girl video, like rape of 10-year-olds, like small little, like the weirdest. I wish I had it up on my phone in front of me right now.
And you don't think that there's any connection between that and James Burke? If they're both looking at weird ass porn, you don't think that they're,
it wasn't just
James
like
Burke is like getting on weird.
It was like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just
you don't think
weird
there's any connection between those two at all?
I don't know. I have to wait for the trial to start so I can see like more and hear more, because there was that between that and like the stuff they found on his computer, like when they got into his hard drive, it was like something I want to say from like the early 2000s that he had thought he had deleted off his computer.
Yes, it was a killing document, like a manifesto.
It was a document, to kill like the stuff he had on his computer, like to kill the documents he had, and like one of them was like a blueprint on how to before, during, and after, like what to do when you're murdering somebody.
What the hell?
I believe that document mentioned Manorville, and they found
that's how they found. They connected it like to murders that happened like previously before he even married his wife, like back in the early like 90s.
1993, I believe. Well, that's my next question.
That was going to be my thing that I was going to say. Like, there's no way that she was married to him for 30 years and then out of nowhere he just started doing this. Like, this had to have been an issue.
It had to have. They said they're thinking it started before.
That would make sense.
He's been charged for the one I don't remember her name now, but from 93. But my next question is starting with Brittany. How many did he really kill? He's been charged with 7. How many people do you think he really murdered? If you had a guess, how many people he murdered? What's the number?
46.
Ooh, wow. And do you think it's restricted to?
I think he's been doing it for way longer than we think.
No, I agree with that.
What number would you give, Tiffany?
I don't know. I don't know if I would say 46. I would say it's definitely maybe like in the 20s for sure. Like, especially if he's been doing it like since the 90s. It's at least like in like the maybe like 25, 26.
I'm going to go with 33 just because that's how old I am. I'm going to go with 33.
But I definitely think it's way more than just the Gilgo 4. Or, well, it's more than 4 because they found they connected into those other ones. It was like 7 or something.
It was like Peaches and her kid. I forget her name. They just actually recently this year, it was that like half her body was found somewhere else, like back in the 90s. And then when they were searching.
That's right.
When they were searching,
parts of it in Manorville and parts at Gilgo Beach.
Yeah, and then the other half of the body was found, and then the baby.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
2.0 is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't know how many this guy did, but the one thing that's really baffling to me about, when I started doing this podcast is how normal these guys are with their families and the double life that they live. It's just, I mean, I have enough trouble putting my socks on and gathering my thoughts in the morning and trying to just, hey, simple things in life. I couldn't go out and rape and kill and come back to a family, and it would make me dizzy. I couldn't do that.
Well, Dad, I better not find out some shit about you because excommunicated. You're done.
Well, he thinks that we're murderers. Apparently, we wanted him dead. We were watching Killer Woman with Piers Morgan last night, and the murderer was like, every child wants their parents dead, and now he's said he's locking the door at night when he goes to sleep.
That's not true. Only serial killers, psychopaths, would say that they wanted their parents dead.
No, but, you know,
do I want to smack you around a couple times? Yeah, sure. But do I want to kill you? No.
The Green River killer, Gary Ridgway, who confessed to 48, and who knows how many he did, but same thing. You know, wife, kids, had a job with, I think, the Peterbilt truck company, had the same job for like 30 years. That guy, Dennis Rader, BTK in Kansas, wife, kids, you know, long-term job. I think he worked for a security company. You know, a lot of these guys, they're able to somehow compartmentalize that part of their life, which is really, really scary. You know, I'm going to say 27, because if you started in 1992 and your last one maybe was 2010, well, that we know of, that's 18 years. You had to do at least one a year, and maybe two some years.
Well,
so I'm going to go with 27.
They were also saying that, so obviously I think he's been doing it, and I think he switched his MO, because the earlier years it was mostly about like decapitating and like just like completely butchering the body to get rid of evidence. But they were also saying he had a timeshare in Las Vegas that they're now looking into similar murders out there. And then along with the South Carolina, the property him and his brother both owned and shared down there. And like there were like other missing girls that they said a few of their names, but they're looking into them down there too. So you have Long Island, you have Vegas, and you have South Carolina.
I believe, wasn't there also something with Atlantic City? There was a number of girls from Atlantic City that went missing.
They were saying since he would travel down through there to go down to South Carolina. So they're trying this. They think that,
and that's 2 hours from Long Island. That's fairly close.
It's not far. Yeah.
So they're like looking into all of that. So I mean, it probably is a good number. We'll probably never know.
Clearly he's not confessing to anything.
I think that he will confess to it. I think that eventually he will, because like his friend said in that interview on the Peacock show, when he went to visit him, like his best friend went to visit him and like asked him like, did you do it? And like he like had like a single tear and like basically gave like a nod of like, yeah, I did it, but like wouldn't say it out loud.
I just feel like he should, for at least his daughter's sake, just admit to it, because watching the Peacock documentary, she's going through like mental torture over it.
Oh yeah. She's loyal to him, but at the same time, she's also an intelligent girl.
Right. So she's just so like back and forth. She's just like, I don't want to believe my dad did it. Did he do it? She's literally like going through like hell in her own brain. And I just feel like, at least if not like to do it for the victims, which he should, but like your daughter needs some type of peace.
Plus, you know, when I hear kids say, "Oh, I don't know if he did it," see, I'm more cynical. When I hear kids, say, "I don't know if he did it," and I stand by them, you got to look at like, maybe she's standing by him because he has life insurance policy that's in her name or in her family. It all goes to money with me. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't.
Daughter?
Yeah, you don't know what this guy's life insurance is. If he has, I'm sure he has life insurance. Whose name is it in? Is it in the daughter's name? Is it in the mother's name? She don't want to piss people off. She wants to get the money. I don't know. That's where my mind works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter what she thinks either way. If it's going to her, it's going to her. It doesn't matter if she believes he did it or not.
He can take her off. You want to stay
but why would he do that? I don't think that a father would be like, oh, she thinks I did it, so she's coming off the life insurance. Like, I don't think that that's like.
Some days I wake up, I want to take you off my life insurance policy, but I don't. So I mean, if
you were a murderer, I would visit you. I'd put money on your books. I wouldn't just stop talking to you.
Thanks.
I'd write you, Dave.
I can't say the same for myself. I don't know if I would speak to you again.
Well,
But
it depends on who you kill. Like if it's babies or the elderly, then I'm never speaking to you again. But if it's like a middle, like a 20s, 30s, 40s,
I might
somebody
never
who
talk.
deserves it, right? But
yeah.
I want to ask you guys too. Like, this is my theory with these serial killers. I think at some point, like, I think he's holding on to the slim hope that he might get acquitted, but which in reality will never happen. I think at some point his attorneys are going to tell him, "Look, man, there's so much evidence against you. You might as well cut a deal." And I think once he cuts that deal, I think at that point he's going to fess up to all of these murders, and I think we're going to be startled at how many there are.
Yeah,
I
you won't
agree.
know until the discovery comes out exactly what they got on this guy. Once the discovery comes, you have to make that. You have to make that.
The stuff that we already have with him, we know he did. Like there's no way that your hair, your wife's, and your daughter's hair are on one of each on all of the victims. That belt, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with that belt. Is anybody the belt that one
No,
of the girls,
I couldn't quite follow that. I did not know what that was.
because it was like WH or HW
Or HK or something like that. Yeah. That one I did not that I didn't get, but
regardless, the DNA was on there. And how do you explain your freaking whole family's hair? What do you guys just like down at the beach giving each other haircuts?
you drive in the same car, you
I
fit the
forgot about
description,
that.
you use burner phones. Yeah, you're screwed.
Well,
I
they
forgot
had
about the
they
hair.
also found
body.
the burner phones that he was using, and like whatever, there was like emails, say like johnsmith@gmail.com was soliciting like Craigslist ads for all of these girls. Like this burner phone was found on all of these girls' phones, like the same number. And then there was an email connected to that burner phone. And his dumbass made johnsmith@gmail.com at home at his house on the computer, and then logged in on the burner phone. So then the IP address belonging to the email is coming back to his freaking hard drive at his house.
Yeah,
he's cooked. So
Gotta love it.
Last question is, who plays him in the Lifetime movie? And here's my.
Oh boy.
I say my Uncle Mark.
Uncle Mark. Doesn't he look just like him when Uncle Mark had his toupee?
It's freaking creepy, dude. I wish we had a picture of
By
him.
the way, you got Uncle Mark will play Rex Heuermann.
My dad's brother literally is big, tall, and fat. And he used to wear a toupee. I think he's rocking it like all natural now. But when he wore a toupee, identical.
Let me see if I can find a picture of him.
It was the first thing I said when I saw him was like, Uncle Mark?
It's
Identical.
so creepy.
Brittany, what do you
Is
think?
Uncle Mark really that tall?
My
No.
Uncle Mark, he's pretty tall.
He's tall. He's not that.
Not,
I mean, he's
6'5", but I mean, he's pretty tall.
But he's heavy set like that as well.
Pretty heavy
Yeah.
set. Same color
Okay.
eyes, like same features, kind of real ogre-y. And the wig, the toupee.
Yep. For real.
It could be anybody on this earth as long as it's not John Goodman. I mean, it could even be Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell.
I just don't want to see John Goodman. After seeing him play Babe Ruth, I don't want to see him play anybody else.
Oh.
That was hideous.
I love him.
John Goodman?
Me too.
Yeah.
No, not one of my favorites, but to each his own.
I loved him in Roseanne.
Oh yeah, no, he was great in Roseanne. As long as he stuck with Roseanne, he was good.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I want to watch wrestling, and that was a great case. I mean, this is, we're talking about a guy who normal, like we said, normal family guy, married, kids, great job, and you just never know. You might have a neighbor that you think is odd, but I mean, he was just beyond odd, and it stuns me that like a beautiful neighborhood like Massapequa Park could have a vile human being like that. It just goes to show you really never know. But guys, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the Monty and the Power YouTube channel so you don't miss any episodes. Do not forget to join yours truly and Dan Sebastiano tomorrow night at 7 for Dan and Benny in the Ring. and then on Wednesday night at 7 for When It Was Real with the great Nikita Brezhnikov. And all three of these shows will also be live streamed on Want Radio. And do not forget to check out The Bad Girl every Saturday from 1 to 5 Eastern Time on Funland Radio, spinning the oldies as only she can. And you can also find me on Want Radio most Sunday afternoons at 3 for Benny the Jet and the Jet Set. And I've included links for both in the description. So for the Bad Girl, Brittany Brown, for the genius Tiffany Star, Dangerous Dave the Carnival Man, and terrible Tori Star, this is the one and only player telling everyone to stay safe, and we will see you next crime. Night all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Buzz.
Don't forget to say bye to Mrs. P. Bye, Mrs. P.
Bye, Mrs.
Bye,
P.
Mrs. P.
Bye,
Bye, Buzz Lightyear.
3.0.
Bye, Mrs. P.